Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dork Entertainment. We've got a very special video for you today. We're going to start a series of podcasts, which will be running over the next couple of days. I've got a few colleagues here, friends, you could call them, cousins, which they actually are. Instead of having them over in the studio, which we can't do at this stage because of...
Not allowed.
Not allowed. You can hear them probably. They're actually online already.
No, we're not.
We're gonna be doing a live stream across to them. So we're gonna stream across now. Okay. Hi everyone. How's it going?
Sup, Doc?
Hey, what's up?
Hello.
What's up?
Man.
So I've got Sumeet with us here. He's got a lot of coronavirus in the background there.
Good old COVID.
Oh, the coronavirus behind me.
I've got RetroJooni. RetroJooni, he's breathing coronavirus.
Jody.
He's I think he's found an antidote. He's smoking up.
Yeah.
I'm in the clouds. What's up?
And I've got Marvel vs DC at the bottom there with David and Daniel also. So
What up?
we're going to be discussing a few topics. So first off, the topic that's on everyone's mind at the moment, coronavirus. So the effect coronavirus. We know the effect it's having on people in general with health and stuff, but we're going to talk about the effect it's having on entertainment, sport, etc. So it has it's going to have a lasting effect as well on a lot of things. We'll start with sport, I guess, because that's one of the main things people enjoy. So I'm going to put this out there. So the sports that you guys enjoy, has that been affected? Like, what sports do you guys watch mostly that and what effect has it had on some of those sports?
Yeah, as I watch cricket, cricket's been totally cancelled. They've cancelled everything from the IPL, from all the cricketing that was supposed to be going on. But though I've heard they were supposed to play Australia versus England in England, and they're talking like that's going to still happen. So that's supposed to happen in June. So I'm not really sure what they're doing there.
There was another tournament that was starting called the 100. Did you guys hear about that? The 100 series?
Yeah, it was basically British IPL.
Oh.
Yeah. And there's no word on what's happening. They're like, even with contracts, like contracts are being renegotiated as we speak. Just because they're not going to be playing cricket for a while.
Yeah,
I mean, not just cricket, like other sports we're talking about. Locally here in Australia, we've got the rugby league and we've got the AFL.
Have the crowds really affected? Has this affected the crowds for NRL? I'm not sure.
Oh, don't blow there by
seems like a normal
RetroJooni.
crowd. It seems like a normal Sunday crowd, man. The NRL.
I think miraculously they
brutal.
haven't been affected by the virus. But
That's brutal.
Yeah, I don't know.
that's just a personal thing.
That's why the NRL was adamant. We're like, oh, nothing's going to affect us. We're going on. And
then next minute, oh no, sorry, we can't.
Well, the NBA,
so initially,
the NBA's been shut down, but I mean, we're no stranger to lockouts and lockdowns and whatnot. But
Yeah.
sucks not having NBA.
well, the NBA was the first sport that was shut down out of all of them.
Well,
It
the
really
first
started
athletes.
a domino effect, didn't it? Yeah, it really started a domino effect on every sport in the world and every event in the world. When the NBA shut down, it became really serious, and every other sort of sport and event was basically cancelled since then.
Yeah.
yeah. So with NRL and AFL, initially they did start the seasons with no crowds, but after one round they pretty much had to stop, and that was pretty much it. Did I hear a bark?
Yes, that is. Oh, that was Joey.
Oh no, the Corona dog!
Oh, the
Oh no.
You letting the Corona in?
The corona's everywhere now.
So Sumeet's obviously immune to that. He's got some
immunity.
I am legend immunity.
Yeah. Finding the cure right here in this lab.
I guess the long-term effect of this pandemic on teams and clubs, a lot of clubs are going to go bankrupt.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing actually. NRL clubs, AFL clubs.
Even
a
some
lot of
A-League clubs
rely
as
on-
well.
Well,
Yeah,
I've heard if
Like,
the English Premier League is cancelled, there's a few clubs there would be
A-League clubs like
David.
A-League clubs. A-League clubs were like very like just literally just surviving. They didn't really have much in terms of revenue coming in, so this just I think completely destroyed them anyway.
The depressed smile from David says it all.
Yes, Liverpool top of
Let's
the
just
league,
talk
one
about
of the
the
best
EPL,
seasons
please.
I've ever
Ah, yeah, Liver.
So, I mean, they work in like the millions of billions of pounds, right?
Mm.
Yeah,
The English Premier League clubs.
Yeah.
In the AFL, they're saying that pretty much as it stands, if the season doesn't go ahead, really only 4 teams will be able to support themselves in the future from if the season doesn't go ahead from next year onwards.
Which 14?
So they had, I think it was Collingwood, West Coast, the Hawks, and another team. I can't remember which one, but a lot of teams like would struggle financially without their members and without crowds.
That's the thing that's come out of this is that a lot of the revenue is from TV. A lot of the TV deals was the big revenue, and that trickled down to the clubs. But now that the fact there's no matches, nothing on TV now with sport, it's going to affect the money for this year at least.
And the flow-on effect, like, you know what I mean? Like, players they're renegotiating their contracts, obviously. They're going to have to take a pay cut at the moment. And trade period comes up after that. Like, what's going to happen with trade period? No one knows. And the AFL is saying that it can start its season later and delay it a bit. But then that's going to trickle into the T20 World Cup, which is due to start here in November as well.
Oh shit! Totally forgot about that. That's right. Hey.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's going to clash there. So.
What I'm hearing about coronavirus is that it might be done by December. Everything might start opening up again in December, but that's just if everything goes okay. I reckon it'll take probably January, February next year. So we could be in this for a while.
Doing a lot of these
And
podcasts.
That's what. Yeah.
Sorry, Daniel?
No, I was just saying that's what all health experts are saying. Like, we're only just seeing the tip of the iceberg when it comes to
there's a long
COVID-19.
way to go.
We have a long, long way to go.
Sorry, Daniel. There's a flashing light above your head.
It's a fan.
Oh my god, he's going to heaven. He's going to heaven. Look at him.
I keep moving my
David,
head back
you're
and forth, so
cool.
that's why.
No, because his light, so his room is
Yep.
that his light is right underneath his fan, so that's why he keeps happening. I was checking the light.
Exactly.
Yes.
Is there any sports that you guys watch that has been affected
EPL.
by EPL?
NBA.
EPL, NBA, yeah.
I was looking forward to the Olympics as well.
Cricket?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the
Oh, yeah, the
Olympics have been
Olympics.
moved.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Right, eh?
I mean, Olympics, as you all know, it takes a lot of money to organize that event.
Yeah.
And I mean, they haven't cancelled it; they pushed it back. But
They've pushed it back to 2021. They already said. They just said this a while ago.
Yeah.
It took them a while to do that as well, man. Everything else got cancelled.
A few music
They were
festivals
still
as well.
hanging on.
Yeah, they were still like trying to hold out, but then eventually they were like, "Oh no, we can't do it."
Yeah. Well, you know that we'll just sort of segue into movies now. The funny thing is, Wonder Woman has an August date or something, doesn't it?
yeah, I don't think they've moved that.
Yeah,
They pushed that movie back quite a bit as well.
yeah, they pushed it back.
Yeah. And even
That
Black
and-
Widow has a date in September.
Yeah, even
There was another movie.
even the new Fast and Furious movie. When does that come? That's also
Yeah,
been
it's next
pushed
year.
back.
Yeah.
Thank God.
But-
It's not getting
Well, the interesting thing is they're starting to give release dates now for them. When they just said they were delaying them indefinitely, but now they're starting to give release dates for them. So they must know something that we don't know. But if we saw the death toll and the cases in the US, it's just exploded over there. So I don't know how they can release a movie so soon. I'm guessing it's going to get delayed again.
I think they have to give a release date, but then they have to, because the same thing with just going back to sport here, what's it name? The boss of the AFL has said that they're looking at a start date of around June to restart the season, even though it's unlikely, but they have to give some sort of start date because they're preparing a 17-game season. They have to give a start date, which they're hopeful for. But in saying that, he did state that they are looking that depending on government advice as well, which is going to be the same for movies. I think they'll give a release date depending on advice on the government on whether cinemas will be open or not. That's when they may have to shift it forward again. So it's like a placeholder date, really. Like they have to give a date. Yeah.
Didn't Black Widow get pushed back as well? I'm pretty sure that got pushed back a bit.
Yeah, that's the same. Black Widow got a date of I think it's September or November. It got a new release date today. They announced it.
Okay.
But hey David.
Okay, David's gone upside down. Okay, that's all right. So you can stay like that if you feel more comfortable, David.
No, he's in the upside down.
He's Spider-Man.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. That was your segue into Stranger Things, right?
Yeah, Stranger Things.
Oh man.
So has that been delayed? Because that finished shooting, didn't it?
Back to next year.
Yeah,
No,
it's been
I thought
delayed,
it-
unfortunately.
Yeah, it was shooting and then they stopped the shooting.
Yeah,
Same thing with
Well-
Batman. That was shooting and they stopped it as well.
Jurassic World.
Well, with Stranger Things, sorry, I heard that they initially had a storyline where they were going to do a time jump in the storyline. So, but it didn't work out because, they'd have to wait a few years and, they really didn't really want to do it with makeup because it wouldn't look, authentic.
Yeah.
But now they have time. They may actually still do the time jump. So that'll be interesting.
Maybe.
So you're talking about Jurassic Park?
Oh yeah, Jurassic, the new one. Yeah.
Jurassic World.
Is that still going to come out next year? I don't even know. Because they've stopped shooting.
Probably not. Yeah, they
No,
stopped
they stopped
shooting.
shooting,
So,
man.
yeah, that was shooting at the moment.
That's the final movie. I mean, David is looking forward to that, I'm sure, as much as I am.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a resident paleontologist for Dork Entertainment. I don't know why we need a paleontologist, but we have one. So
We just need
I'm
one.
looking forward to Milan.
Oh my god.
yay, Mulla.
Oh my god.
Just a
don't know how-
theoretical.
I don't know how,
Just to put a theoretical out there, Junie. If movies like Mulan, like if the release date passes and if stuff happens where like if this thing doesn't sort of subside, they might have to release it online, like on Disney Plus or something, right?
Well, I mean, look at Artemis Fowl. That got cancelled. Now it's only releasing on Disney Plus.
Oh,
Which one
really?
is that?
Yeah, Artemis Fowl. I don't know how to say it.
Cool.
And
Well, there's been a few movies like that. Like Sony's Bloodshot released in cinemas for like a week, but now they've pushed it to like a pay-per-view type thing, I think.
is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on video on demand. So
I think Onwards is Disney's Onwards is on Disney Plus as well now. So we may see a few more of those sort of things. Like
I think
this is
it's
the time where Netflix, would be flourishing.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like you spend all this money, you have a budget for a film. How long can you hold on to it without trying to sort of recuperate what you've spent?
Some of the
How long do you hold
Yeah.
on?
And you think about the productions where they've had to book places, book sets, where they pretty much book everything in advance. To have to cancel all that, I don't think they're going to get a refund. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the money lost. down the drain.
So even like with the MCU with Black Widow. So Black Widow apparently has moved to the Eternals date. So everything has been pushed back by in the MCU. So Eternals has now got, I think, the date in February, and then like whatever was in February is now in like May. So I think they're all just pushed back.
That sucks.
More sort of release date. Yeah.
Does it suck?
It sucks. That means we're going to have to wait even
Doesn't
longer
suck.
for an X-Men movie.
Man, as far as I'm concerned, Endgame's the last one. That's
Oh, ooh, this is a good segue into the next topic.
Endgame is done. That's it.
Hey,
Oh, actually,
All right.
So Black Widow is releasing on November 6th. That's what it's saying.
Yeah. So I'm just
Yes,
reading
that's right,
some
yeah.
comments made by the co-founder of DreamWorks Animation, Jeffrey Katzenberg. he's saying the movie industry is ready to embrace like the home viewing and streaming and whatnot. So actually, Mulan has a release date of July 24th. Black Widow in November 6th. Artemis Fowl is debuting on Disney Plus. It was scheduled for a theatrical release in May. But
So, well, you know what? They might stick with the July release date because, according to statistics released by China, because China is going to be a big market for that movie, you know, the numbers are going down in China, right?
Yes, but China is also bullshitting their numbers as well.
Well,
apparently
we don't know
40 times. It's apparently 40 times more larger than what they're reporting. So they're bullshitting the numbers.
Well, we don't know yet. It could be bullshitting. We don't know.
Could be anything. It's China.
Could be.
Definitely bullshitting.
But yeah, look, most likely, I think Mulan will have to push back the day.
yeah.
At the moment in Australia, because Australia's in lockdown at the moment for 90 days, they're saying in New South Wales, which I think it's end of June or July it's going to finish? Or be reassessed?
I expect it to go longer than that.
It's going to go way longer. Yeah.
October,
Yeah, I
November
mean-
is what they're saying.
Yeah, at the moment, like what it is now is 90 days, but even the Prime Minister came out and said it could go on for 6 months or
Yeah.
even longer. So
6
So
months.
I assume they'll reassess it. They'll reassess it at 90 days, and then probably extend it. We were talking about the segue into the next topic.
Yes.
So we'll stop. I mean, that was all about coronavirus. So thank you all for the discussion there on coronavirus. We're going to segue into the next topic, which is no, it's not China. Whoever said that, it's not China.
China.
The age-old topic of Marvel versus DC.
Oh, here
so-
we go. Who wins?
Well, who wins? But who has been the best placed up to this point in movies, and whose future looks brighter at the moment with their upcoming movies?
DC.
Let Daniel start this.
Oh, wait.
So-
Can I just say that
Sure.
I just found out that this time, like, the Cyborg movie was supposed to come out.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yes, yesterday or something. Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday. Wow.
So Cyborg movie's ready to go.
No. It
No,
was,
like,
supposed to come out.
It was supposed to.
Justice League.
But obviously,
Like this
production
time.
didn't happen.
Yeah, like around this time.
So what happened? Did that get cancelled?
No, it didn't.
No, it's just they never started.
yeah,
started
They
it.
never started.
the main thing was
For other reasons, but
like
right?
Warner Brothers. I think the main thing was Warner Brothers and DC were kind of worried that because doing a Cyborg movie, there's going to be a lot of CGI. What with his whole costume
expensive.
and whatnot. It's going to be really expensive. So I think their main thing was making a Cyborg movie and it doesn't make any sort of profit in the end. So I think
Yeah, I think the response
think
to
at the
Justice
moment-
League was sort of instrumental.
Yeah,
in shaping
kind of
that.
put the final nail on the coffin there.
Yeah.
They didn't really.
Well,
So Daniel,
Josh Whedon.
let's start with Dan. I want to start with Daniel and David on this because they are the brothers of DC.
No.
And they are big DC fans. I'd like to know who has been better up to now and who is best set up for the future.
David, you
we'll
go
start with
first.
Daniel.
No, David, you go first.
Okay, Dave.
Me?
Yeah, go, David, go.
Well, to be honest, honestly, Avengers Endgame was kind of the end of it. Don't you guys reckon? I mean, like unless in Black Widow, unless in one of the future movies they introduced, what do you reckon? Something Galactus or Doctor Doom or Kang or somebody like like a big time villain. I don't really see a future for DCU. Is a lot better prepared for the future, but like we don't got that like.
There's no DCEU. It's gone.
Well, that's the problem. So then, what is Wonder Woman? And then why didn't Birds of Prey Harley Quinn mention the Batman? Because that's Ben Affleck's Batman.
It's true.
And Aquaman is still Jason Momoa, so it's like a mess.
So, David, ask you a question. You're saying that Endgame is the end, right?
Yeah.
So in the comics, after Avengers Endgame, so the comics were shit after that. Is that what you're saying?
Oh.
I'm just saying, like, we had the whole 10 years to build up this amazing, was a 20 movie story, and now it's like, yeah, Black Widow's coming out. Like, yeah, we should have had that before.
Now,
Kind of, you guys were
you have to.
opportunity, you know? Like, yeah.
You got to remember. You got to remember that. X-Men have now been added to
This is what I'm saying.
the fold as well.
Fantastic Four as well.
Going on with that,
Yeah, so look,
Maggie has said that it's not going to be for. We're not going to see him for. He said minimum at least 5 years. I mean,
But they could add a villain. They could have add a villain from that universe into this, and then
That's what I'm
segue
saying,
into X-Men that way.
Apocalypse.
Yeah.
If they did Apocalypse right, not in that crappy, shitty movie we're going to talk about later. If they actually do him right, yeah, he could be a great villain. X-Men Apocalypse was
Chief
not
Dork
great.
is not impressed.
X-Men Apocalypse was not great, okay? Days of Future Past was great, though.
Days of Future Past is good.
Yeah.
I reckon Marvel it has been better up to now.
Definitely.
In terms of in terms of their universe, but if we're just looking at films, recently DC has been knocking it out of the park. Birds of Prey notwithstanding, but like Joker, Aquaman, Shazam. They've been 3 very good films, and I think like they're starting to get into their gear. Marvel, yes, Endgame was sort of an ending for that whole 10-year story, but they're starting a new story now. So they're going to be, I'm guessing, leading up to Galactus in the next 10 years, and that's where X-Men would come in and all that sort of stuff. And I reckon we'll see a good sort of lead up to the first X-Men movie, which I reckon might be in about 5 years.
Is
RetroJooni?
Sorry.
My take is that I think Marvel have been doing better in terms of their movies. I think DC have the upper hand when it comes to stuff like animation, gaming. Haven't really followed. Haven't followed the comics, so I won't comment on the line of comics. But I think for a lot of the general sort of public and just general movie going audience, I think they sold that crowd in very well with Endgame and stuff, with all these movies. People who aren't generally into comics usually just rocking up and watching them and following like the whole.
But Johnny, it's interesting what both companies are doing, right?
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers is sort of with DC. They're sort of going in a different direction in probably less connected movies, but giving the director like more freedom, so we get stuff like Joker.
Yeah, they've got bigger brand.
Really
they've got more brand
different
recognition. Like as much as well as DC, as well as Marvel's doing. Like people know Batman. They know. They gravitate towards that character. He's such a big brand, such a big character. Superman's such a big brand as well. They've got the names. They've got the.
But while Marvel's doing the same thing, like they're continuing what they're doing for like 10 years. DC's doing like different things with their movies with Joker and all that sort of stuff, but they're doing new things. So that could be something good that they set up for the future in that way, that a studio is sort of believing in them to sort of do different type of movies. Like Birds of Prey is completely different to what Joker is, which is completely different to what Shazam is. So they're all like different type of movies. They're trying new things, DC, which could end up being really good for them in the long run, in the sense that they're doing different type of movies, while Marvel's got their fan base and they're doing they've got their audience set, and they're just going to keep on doing what they're doing, which Kevin Feige has been successful at.
The difference I see is Marvel have a plan. So Marvel have a set plan for the next 10 years. Marvel has the universe laid out already. Like they know where they're going to go. DC, I think, tried to follow that suit, but it didn't quite work. And now they're making more individual movies who are not connected. So the movies are not connected in any way. The characters are different. Like, we've had how many versions of the Joker in the last 10 years? They're not connecting any of the movies. So they're making standalone movies, which are good. There's a new Batman coming out as well, that's right.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad, the sequel. Which I don't think Will Smith is not part of that movie. Is that right?
They're new characters. I don't know if they're
new characters.
New characters in the movie.
I think Margot Robbie's in it. Margot Robbie's
she's in it.
Queen, isn't it? But
Idris Elba's in it.
The boomerang guy.
How does that make sense?
But Idris has Corona.
Yeah, exactly. That's so weird.
Hey, it's been 14 days now. It's been 14 days.
Still.
So it's a bit weird, like, you know what I mean? Like, DC are trying to connect it, but at the same time, they're not connecting them. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but I think what they're just focusing on, as I said, they're just focusing on creating good movies. So their plans are more short term in that sort of sense, in that they get a script, they get a director that they believe in, and then they just sort of they go with it.
Unless
while Marvel's got this big plan for how everything connects, I don't think DC's really going in that direction anymore.
Unless Sumeet, unless they hashtag release the Snyder Cut.
Yes, release the Snyder Cut.
I think
That's
it's
not
clear
gonna
that
happen.
Change everything.
DC wanted to follow the Marvel formula. They did want to follow it, but they just fumbled it completely, and it's hard to recover once you stuffed it up like that. With Justice League, who even remembers the movie, really? I don't, like, no one talks about it.
But you know what? I feel like they can recover, because there are movies, even in the Marvel universe, leading up, which were pretty shit, I gotta say. A couple of the Iron Man movies.
I wouldn't say they're outright shit. I'd say that they're just average.
Average
movies.
Like, to be honest, like...
average shit. Yeah.
We know what you're getting.
But the
Iron
Avengers
Man
wasn't
good.
average, though. That's the thing. This is they're like, the Justice League was the shittest movie.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
Justice League was terrible. Yeah, it was.
But if you look at the Superman movie, Man of Steel, I thought that was pretty good. And
Yeah,
I know Sumeet saying it was average, but it came up in my Facebook history, Sumeet, that you went to watch Man of Steel, and you were like, best movie ever.
Really?
It came up in my Facebook history thing.
Well, I did have time to think about it, after that, and rewatch it.
He had
But,
time to look at the Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah.
Batman vs Superman was okay, but
I hated Batman vs Superman straight away.
What?
didn't hit the spot.
Yeah.
They didn't hit the spot with
Nah.
look, the only thing I didn't like about Batman vs Superman was when they stopped fighting for for one reason, which was that they had the same. Their mother had the same name.
It's
Like,
kinda,
and I thought they were going to add a twist where like they're brothers or something, but they didn't go that way.
I still love the
that's like
concept. I love the
that's like
idea.
alternate universe.
I love the idea of them fighting, though. I should revisit that.
Yeah, the idea of them fighting is awesome. It's just like it should have been bigger than what it was. The movie, it just
Shouldn't have
didn't
had
really have the
Doomsday in it.
story there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe
Yeah,
Doomsday
that's
was
right.
the
Like
bad.
Civil War was a better blueprint for that type of movie.
think we
And it's
also
funny how they got the
Yeah,
upper hand
yeah.
with Civil War, because it turned out to be the better hero of his hero story.
Yeah.
And then even
I
with
think
around the same time, Daredevil season 2 or season 3 had the Punisher in it
Yes.
as well, and it was
No, that's another thing, Johnny. Like, the TV universe that's running alongside it, like with Marvel, in the background of the TV series, they do mention like the events of the movies happening in the background. So you think at some point they'll connect it, but they never did.
They never did.
And-
Well, now
Well, that's because
There was some dispute between like the executives. That's what I heard. That's why they.
yeah,
It
so
was some
Marvel
logistical-
Marvel TV and Marvel Studios were completely different entities.
But
Kevin
the
Feige
events
did
that were
not give a
happening,
shit.
the
Yeah,
events
no,
that were
but
happening
Kevin
in
Feige.
Avengers.
Kevin Feige did not give a shit about what was going on in Marvel TV. He was even asked like, "Oh,
Like
are you going to
Perlman,
connect it in
whatever,
any way?"
Perlmutter.
He's like, "No, I don't think so, mate." He was like, but it was the head of Marvel TV in a feud with Kevin Feige. That was the main thing. So
And-
Kevin Feige
and
didn't really give a
DC
shit about it.
DC TV recently, was it the Flash? I think
Yeah,
Flash
yeah.
Yeah.
Crisis on
from different. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
a different universe. It was the Flash from the movies. So
Ezra
they
Miller,
introduced that into the
Flash,
TV show.
Yeah,
So that's pretty
Yeah,
much.
that was pretty cool.
that was cool.
Yeah.
That's a cool little. Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, I watched the scene. It was a pretty stupid scene, but it's it's a pretty cool sort of thing to incorporate it.
And they incorporated old,
Yeah.
like the 60s Flash. Like they had like all these, like Smallville.
Yeah.
They incorporated all these
Oh,
shows
yeah.
that would not have been, like, they could not have had the foresight to have done it, like, when they were doing it. But like, it's cool. Even like the old school Adam West Batman, the Robin. That
He was
played-
in it. Yeah.
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 Brandon Routh's Superman was in it.
Hmm. That's right.
But yeah, with the DCU, if we just sort of go track back a bit on it, so isn't it just a coincidence that ever since Zack Snyder stopped directing DC movies, that it seemed to have just gotten better?
Oh my god!
I don't know about
Like
that.
there was,
I wouldn't go that far.
it was in the
I
toilet
mean,
when
you can say that, but is it because he's not there, or is it just?
I'd say 100% because it's not there. I reckon
you realise-
the Snyder cut is some stupid myth, and they think it's going to actually make it better. It's going to be as shit. I think it's just,
there's a twitch in Sonny's eye.
I can't wait for the comments now.
A little bit of a twitch.
Sumeet doesn't believe in the Snyder Cut. Sumeet doesn't believe in the Snyder Cut.
fuck the Snyder cut.
Yeah, he'll probably be the first one online watching it when it comes out.
I know.
Yeah, to see it's shit. So I can watch it. I can still say it's shit though.
I remember when Suicide Squad came out, and Sumeet, I think you messaged me. I think it was it was I forgot what movie it was, but it was The Flash. I think it was Justice League, the first like trailer that came out, and you're like, dude, the Flash's like dialogue just completely destroyed the MCU. I was like, okay. I still have that.
What?
I still have that message saved. It's like this was when
It was a
Justice
trailer
League
though.
first came
That's the
out.
thing. That's the thing. It's just proving my point. All Zack
Yeah.
Snyder knows how to do is to make pretty pictures. Pretty little pictures that look good on the wall, little art pieces. But does he know how to make a movie with a script, with a dialogue? I don't think so.
Yes.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
There's three DC movies that say that he doesn't. So
Which
I'm gonna
one?
stick with that. Man of Steel, Batman
Pretty
vs
good.
Superman, and Justice League.
Average. Okay, worse. But you could say Man of Steel was pretty good.
Man of Steel was average.
Yeah.
If you
Could've
could,
been better.
Old man.
if you can,
What?
well,
Yeah.
I think you need to rewatch this.
What about all those memes?
No, but average is okay. I'm saying it was like
Solid-
6 or 7 out of 10. I'd give it, but like it
I
could have
reckon
been
it's
way better.
8 out of 10 for
It was
me.
good for a start. But it wasn't like something spectacular.
See, the good thing with
superhero
Marvel
movies.
movies is it's entertaining, right? DC takes a different route in terms of entertainment. Like they make it a more darker tone
gritty,
in their movies,
yeah,
whereas
gritty type, of, yeah.
Marvel
So
is
what's
known
what's
to
the
make it
difference
very
with that, then?
lighthearted. Well,
No,
with the
but-
the thing
But,
is,
but like, why is that an excuse though? I saw that being used as an excuse for Batman.
no,
vs
it's not an
Superman.
excuse. It's not an
And
excuse. I'm just saying it's a different type of entertainment where Marvel sometimes can get some cheap laughs, right? But
Yeah.
DC won't get those sort of things. Like that part of
No,
it
but
won't be there.
I remember when Batman vs Superman came out, everyone was saying, "Oh, because Batman vs Superman's darker, that's why people don't like it." I'm like, that's bullshit, man. Dark Knight was probably one of the darkest movies in comic book history, and that made $1.5 billion. Just the Batman movie on its own. When you're taking Batman and Superman together, you expect it to make over $1 billion. It didn't make over $1 billion. It made like 800 million. So, I mean, the reaction wasn't great to it.
I gotta say, Dark Knight wasn't my favorite movie.
Ooh, controversial.
Like the Joker was awesome, but
There's a twitch in
I don't
Sumeet's
know.
ear now.
I just didn't feel those movies. Like Dark Knight Rises was freaking awesome. Dark Knight Rises was my favorite movie.
Well, that's funny because 90% of people said the opposite. They said Dark Knight Rises is kind of average, but Dark Knight was brilliant, and it was.
No, imagine like no. I thought Christian Bale. He got a bit stale as it got towards the end of the trilogy.
Really?
But I thought, yeah.
Stale. He's one of the best Batmans. What are you on about?
No, I reckon Michael. Was it Keaton or Keating? What was his name?
Keaton?
Michael Keaton.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Really?
I think you got rose-colored glasses there, right? Michael
wrong with
Keaton.
you?
No.
No.
He's-
Have you guys even watched the old Batman movies?
Christian Bale is the perfect, like, he's the, to me, when I think of Batman, I think of Christian Bale. When I think of, like, Dark Knight Returns Batman, I think of Ben Affleck.
Wait, hold on. Wait.
That's
David's about to say Adam West is the best Batman.
Wait,
I mean, he did
The
start it
original
all.
man. Oh, gee.
the OG Batman. Man. It's
What
so
about
good.
that one scene in Batman v Superman when Batman is in the warehouse? What about that one scene? That one scene where he's fighting all those dudes. I think that scene
If
for
I-
me was Ben Affleck.
Yeah, but David, the thing is, it's one scene. A movie makes up 20 scenes. They need better. They need to do the whole thing.
Christian Bale, he was a good Batman, but there wasn't like, I don't know. There was just something. There's something about his.
But that's the interesting thing, though. Christian Bale was a Batman in a very good film with a very good director. Was Ben Affleck a good Batman in a bad film? It could be the other way around, maybe with Ben Affleck. But Ben Affleck was good. What do you think, Johnny? You liked Ben Affleck as Batman, didn't you?
Yeah. Look, I think with Batman, it's also got to do with like just the way the director interprets the character of Gotham itself as well. Like I think, like Gotham in Nolan's movies was pretty just like any city really. Like it didn't really.
Yeah.
I don't think it really felt
It's
like
basically
Gotham.
New York.
But you've got Tim Burton's
essentially New
certain
York,
aesthetic. It adds a lot to the character. It's setting. His setting's important. I think they got Gotham right. There's a lot of things I think they got right in Snyder's films. Just in the way they present Gotham and the way like Tim Burton presented Gotham, like his style, like that was pretty cool. But I don't know, the defining Batman actor probably be Christian Bale, just because he's been in the best movies.
What about Val Kilmer?
Or better yet,
Just throwing it out there.
Wait. What about George Clooney?
Yeah, Val Kilmer. George Clooney.
You guys don't laugh, man.
Oscar winner.
Exactly.
No, I
You
think
guys
the best
remember
one's
the
gonna be,
puns, the ice puns.
Time to kick
it's
some
gonna be the
ice.
Twilight dude. What's his name?
I don't know that movie.
He's gonna be the best one.
Robert Pattinson, yeah.
No, look. What about? Okay, we talk about Batman there. What about Superman? Sumeet doesn't like Man of Steel that much, but who as Superman?
I didn't say I didn't like it. No, Man of Steel was an okay movie.
Who's the best?
Average.
Who's the best Superman?
Henry Cavill easily, I reckon.
Cavill's pretty good.
Yeah, I think he's done the role pretty well in the movies.
Okay, we can all agree on that, right? Henry Cavill.
Are we just talking about movie, or are we going to talk about like TV show as well?
TV show
I'm
too.
talking about TV show, yeah, true.
Honestly,
Why, do you like the TV show version better?
Tom Welling wasn't that bad. Like he had a very.
All right, Daniel, I'm kicking you out of this chat room.
Tom Welling wasn't bad. Brandon Ruth had the comic book approach to Superman. He was very comic book type. Henry Cavill's the only problem I had with him was he wasn't like he was too. What's the word? Like he's too broody. That was the only.
That's the whole thing. DC.
Yeah.
That's the tone DC was going
No,
for.
but I think that again, that's what I'm saying. That's where the directing is bad in that Superman. Yes, it has a lot of dark stuff to him, but he's supposed to be a symbol of hope.
Exactly.
Supposed to be like, they didn't really show that. They didn't show that in the movies. They didn't really get to show that in the movies correctly.
I thought it was pretty cool how they showed like the beginning of it where with on his planet with Russell Crowe. I thought it was pretty cool with his dad. Like that's a good way to start the movie, I thought. Anyway, we're moving on. So we're talking about, we've gone a bit off topic there on DC versus Marvel. So we're just going to go around the room and have a quick vote. Which
Wait, just before we do that,
Uh-oh.
one of the most iconic scenes in comic books when Superman just straight up murders Joker.
Oh yes, because Joker kills Lois Lane, right?
Yeah. So the whole story.
Injustice, Injustice Comics.
Injustice.
It looked like Joker was about to kiss Superman.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Did you see the hand through his heart?
Do I need
No,
to?
Daniel,
can you hold it still?
Oh my god!
Hang on.
Hold it
Show
still.
the picture. Yeah, his
There,
hand's going through
okay,
his
there.
body.
Yeah. His hand's right there. Do you see it? Yeah.
Okay, and we'll look at Batman there behind the shocked look on his face.
Because no one expected him to do that, and then all of a sudden.
Look, Daniel, you're turning into a transformer.
Maybe. I need to get my.
Are you a
piece and then I'll be done. I need to say my
Are you a
piece and then I'll be done.
Decepticon?
No, he's the Beast Wars T-Rex.
Begin our assault.
He's the Beast Wars T-Rex. Yes,
Marvel, as far as I'm
Maximus
concerned,
died.
Marvel finished with Endgame. Black Widow. I'm not really looking forward to it because To me, Black
Wait,
Widow.
so you're done with Marvel. You're done with Marvel.
He's gonna go buy a ticket for the next one.
We're obviously gonna go watch the next movie. Don't even try it.
We're obviously gonna go watch it, but it's not gonna have the same like sort of. I don't know. It's not
No,
gonna
no.
have the
Obviously,
same-
it can't compare to Endgame or Infinity War.
Yeah, it's not
Alright,
gonna
Mega
get
events
enthusiasm.
in movies.
We're gonna go around the room. Just tell me Marvel or DC for the future. Sumeet.
Marvel, because I want to see X-Men done right. Because I
David?
fucking hate the current version of X-Men, or the one that Fox did.
David.
So definitely.
Worlds of DC.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Daniel.
DC.
Really?
Yeah.
Johnny.
Marvel, because I want to see Blade. I want to see X-Men. Even Fantastic Four. It'd be interesting to see their takes on it because we've seen it done badly. So it's just more. It's just more curiosity there.
And I'm gonna go.
Marvel, of course.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, 3-2.
Typical.
Sorry guys, Marvel
it's
wins.
paid off.
Sorry DC. Sorry DC. This is not sponsored by Marvel, by the way.
Yes, it is.
It's sponsored by Disney. Oh.
So, all right. So guys, we're gonna move on to our next topic. Oh, that was you, Daniel. Sorry. I thought Mickey was here. Sorry. We're going to move on to our next topic. So
Mickey.
we're going to have a bit of a chat about the video gaming industry. Now, there's a couple of new systems coming out, possibly at the end of the year, which is what its scheduled release date is. So the PlayStation 5 versus the Xbox Series X. Now, you know, which one are you guys looking forward to the most? Which one has impressed you so far? Even though PlayStation hasn't really shown much, Xbox has shown a little bit of the gaming capabilities.
PlayStation showed that one video of some game where there's like someone like, you know, just dead or something, and some armor. Like, it was weird. I don't know, they showed something. It just basically looked the same. Didn't really wow me. It looked like just an upgraded version of the visuals from the latest consoles. But then Xbox, we saw Hellblade. What is it called? Hellblade.
Okay,
Xbox we saw.
Hello?
So
Oh, there he is. Hey.
Hello.
Do you know Microsoft is listening in on this meet?
Ah, great, nice. Yeah, so I was saying, like, you know, Xbox, we saw Hellblade, wasn't it? I think Hellblade Senua Saga or something, and that looked incredible. Because if they were saying that was in-game sort of trailer, that looked like very close to real life sort of movements of like the face and all that, the lighting.
Did they show Halo as well?
Yes, they've already shown. They've shown Halo Infinite. So I'm
looked pretty
actually
cool.
at the moment I am impressed by Xbox Series X. I'm probably getting that, but obviously PS5 is going to have a lot of the cool exclusives that it had in what PS4 had.
Could you
Johnny,
name
got
some of
something to
those
say about
exclusives?
that, all those exclusives games. You pointed out before that they actually have like a similar gameplay style.
Yeah,
don't
actually, I do remember. Yeah.
It's the third person cinematic PlayStation experience. Seems to be every game: Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, The Last of Us, and
Spider-Man.
It's just Spider-Man. Oh, Spider-Man's the probably the most unique, but yeah, I don't know. You seem to get the same.
They all
game
look
with
like the
different
same.
flavors,
Yeah, they look like the same game, just reskinned.
pretty much.
But yeah, it's interesting to see what is going to happen. I don't know. Are they actually going to release this whole
Well,
coronavirus thing?
There's no announcement yet at the moment. They're sticking to
No
the
E3.
release date.
There's no E3 as well. Yeah.
Yeah, E3's gone.
Sony's probably happy about that because they weren't going to do much anyway.
I wonder if
E3, right?
Nintendo will still do a direct or not. I wonder.
Nintendo apparently they're continuing with the directs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nintendo's actually interesting. So we'll just segue. Nintendo's got the 35th year of Mario, and they're releasing every single Mario game.
Super Mario
on Switch.
Sunshine. Fuck yeah.
Yes, Super Mario Sunshine Remaster. That's something I've
When
been
is
wanting
that?
for a while. At the second half of 2020. So yeah, they're gonna go all out on Mario.
So Nintendo is usually a year or so behind in the console race, usually, like based on patterns that we've seen so far. So
a
after
year or so.
Shots
But yeah,
fired.
like after PS5 or after the PlayStation Xbox released around the same time, usually about a year or so later, the next Nintendo console comes out, right?
Oh yeah, what's it been like? It's been 3 years, hasn't it,
Yeah.
since Switch?
But the thing is,
so
Yeah.
maybe
Nintendo Switch is technically an 8th gen console, so it's actually in line with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. So
But in terms of like
that's right.
the processing power, probably not.
no, it's not.
No.
So after PS5 and Xbox, if they do release at the end of the year, are we looking like what's Nintendo's next move? Like, have they planned anything? Do you reckon? Or?
I mean, we keep hearing about the Switch Pro, like, like there's always rumors every, 3 months, we're getting a Switch Pro with 4K visuals and this and blah, 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 this and that, but honestly, I don't really see much happening. But if they go by the...
Things I could see them doing that, David, because I reckon now they've sort of switched up their the way that they do business, in the sense that they're sort of going to do business like they do, like Apple does business. Like Apple has the iPad, and then they just do revisions of it like every couple of years.
Okay.
So they could do a Switch Pro, and then I reckon they're going to keep with the Switch name. I have a feeling.
It'd be interesting because something is always expected from Nintendo, and something innovative as well. Like they usually come up with something different. PlayStation 5, I think that they're going to have to show off a bit more. Apparently, they reviewed the specs. There's been a few consoles of the review consoles for the Xbox that have gone out, and people have compared the specs as well. And the Xbox
apparently Xbox is way more powerful than PS5.
Yeah, so
It's just,
the
Xbox
capabilities
is
are
more
there.
powerful than PS5, but apparently, so the PlayStation 5's SSD is a lot, twice as fast as
a lot quicker.
So that's why they want to be able to load up massive landscapes a lot faster than the Xbox will. So I don't know, it's in terms of speed versus power now.
Well, also adding extra, hard drive space on these consoles is going to cost a lot more then as well.
Yeah, so Xbox actually has a very easy, they already demonstrated they have a very easy way of changing your storage. PlayStation still hasn't done that. And their SSD is only 825 gig, which is a weird number. And is that
yeah, it's really specific.
is that really and it's wait, so is that how much space we have to install games, or is that including the actual operating system? They haven't really said much, so it's kind of confusing, to be honest.
Yes.
What about you, Johnny? You getting a PS5 or an Xbox Series X?
No comment.
I think RetroJooni has moved into the PC world.
Yeah, look, just these generation leaps used to mean a lot more back a couple of generations ago. They feel more just sort of refinements and optimization in terms of other things.
Although I gotta say, ray tracing looks interesting, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm more interested in PC hardware
as a technology.
Console stuff.
Well, apparently, they're saying the Xbox will be very similar to PC, as in, in terms of some of the games.
That's what I mean by the optimizations. Bring it more in line.
Yeah. Yeah. And Microsoft will apparently allow you to. I don't know if they do that at the moment, but you can actually cross over to. What are you laughing at, Sumeet?
Laughing at Judy.
Can you cross over at the moment with PC servers and stuff like that?
Yeah, with certain games like Rocket League. I think Mortal Kombat actually has crossplay between the consoles. I know Rocket League, Fortnite's another crossover game, consoles and PC. So,
look, I think I'd definitely go Xbox first because. Well, at the moment, the pricing model that they've come out with, that the PlayStation 5 is going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
Is it PlayStation 5?
You guys have some secret conversation here.
No.
Eyebrow chat or something.
He just messaged me saying, "Don't look at your phone." Oh my god.
So I'd probably go. I'd go Xbox.
Xbox, yeah.
Interesting.
Got to get the Halo gang back together.
Yes.
Well, we all play Halo, but how come you haven't installed it yet?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, we all play.
We've actually been playing Halo for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Don't be like, oh, where's my invite? I've told you to install it. You're just like,
Keep not getting busted.
Didn't even invite me.
Oh,
Breaking my heart, man.
You know what? I'm gonna look up the message right. I'm looking up the message.
You're
right
in our
now. I'm gonna show
Discord
you.
as well, so you can always find updates on the Discord.
Awkward. Awkward. I asked you. I was like, "Hey, son, do you have
All right, okay.
You're like, "No, I don't." And I'm like, "Oh, you should get it." And you're like, "Oh, is it on PS4?" Lol, kidding.
Ooh.
And I'm like,
Ooh, he says
it's for Halo.
but on
You're like,
live
how
he says
much?
he's the Xbox. He's going with Xbox. What is this?
You ask how much, and I say it's on Game Pass, it's $1, but it's only 95 gigs, and you're like, WTF? And I'm like, come, we're playing right now, and you're like, Soja Africa.
Yeah, because you're messaging me at like 2 in the morning.
All right, David, what are you
Actually, it was
going?
12 o'clock.
Xbox or PS?
What are you going?
Xbox or
Yes, Dave.
Alright, that's difficult. On the suggestion of Sumeet, I recently got Xbox Game Pass, and I've been downloading games like crazy. Like, I got 2K20. Not that I enjoyed it. Don't buy it. That's a piece of shit.
Shots fired, shots fired.
What is WWE 2K20?
Yeah, 2K20, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it? Sunset Overdrive, which was great. Was it
Sunset Overdrive, yes, very good game.
Yeah. Actually tried Rocket League for the first
You
time.
remember Sunset Overdrive, Johnny?
Yeah, it's okay.
So
Okay.
honestly, it's a difficult question now. Like originally,
Okay.
any,
Come on, David, be decisive.
I don't know.
Yes.
Nah, I'm just gonna get.
What?
I'm gonna get both.
I was getting both.
Okay.
Political response.
And,
How about you?
And
Fence sitting.
build a gaming PC.
Oh, he's gone. He's dipping in oil and everything. The all-rounder. How about you, Daniel?
Go, Daniel.
The
Go, Daniel.
all-rounder.
For me, probably Xbox. Just because of Halo, that's why.
Then he's just gonna play Overwatch. Don't even lie.
He's just gonna get Overwatch 2. Whatever Overwatch you
Just
want.
like Overwatch.
Don't even lie.
Yeah.
Retro? Retro?
Oh, I already said
Junie?
sticking with PC, just upgrading my PC. I'm not getting either.
No, PlayStation or...
Yeah, PlayStation, Xbox. Shit.
So you're saying Microsoft PC, right?
That's not what I'm saying. Just
That's what you're saying. But
If we're looking for a PC gamer's perspective, you probably would want to just get a PC and a PS5.
yeah,
right?
PS5.
Because all of Xbox games are on PC.
Yeah,
So there's no real point.
and
in
everything
getting-
gets emulated on PC eventually anyway, so I'm good.
One major factor is going to be backwards compatibility as well.
Damn.
PlayStation apparently has very selective backward compatibility in terms of
No, I think they're targeting every single game,
okay,
but
they've tested
they've only
100.
They've tested 100. I think is what they're saying. I think a lot of people got mixed up with that, saying, "Oh, there's only 100 games on backwards compatible."
and that
I
was
think they've only
PlayStation
tested
4.
100.
That was
Yeah,
PlayStation 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about PS1, PS2, PS3?
No, there's nothing.
So I think they're probably pushing their PS Now service. I think with that
Yeah.
the cloud service,
Similar to Nintendo's, Nintendo.
that.
Yeah,
Cloud-based
Switch
retro
Online.
stuff. Yeah.
This is what happens. Disney's pulled the plug on him.
All right. Next topic.
Oh,
Oh
I
shit.
just pulled the plug. Oh,
That's topic.
Mickey Mouse. Oh.
Yeah, so
I'll get you
God,
next time,
man.
kiddo. Oh.
We should just change the DE logo to Disney logo at the bottom left.
I know.
Disney Entertainment.
Sponsored by Disney.
Disney Entertainment. Guys, seriously, there's no sponsorship here. I'm not getting any money from any of this.
That's what he's saying.
That's what he's saying. Yeah.
So I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go Xbox.
Xbox. Okay.
Xbox.
Yeah, definitely Xbox.
So, all right,
I would have
so-
gone PlayStation, but there's no new announcement on God of War. I'm waiting for the new God of War.
Well, the rest of the Final
That's
Fantasy
all.
VII game I think will be released on PS5, so most likely I'd go PS5.
Hey, just on current generation, what's happened with the Avengers game? That hasn't come out yet, has
Got
it?
delayed.
That's been delayed. It's being delayed.
Definitely?
After delay. As of right
Even
now, yes.
Last of Us. Yeah, Last
September?
of Us got delayed as well.
I think
Is it
so.
September?
No, that got delayed indefinitely.
I'll have a look.
What's this?
Oh shit!
Because
Which
Final Fantasy
game?
was delayed, but that's recently come out. Avengers.
Last of Us. Yeah, we're talking about games, not movies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry guys, sorry.
The Avengers game.
Both Avengers and Last of Us got delayed.
No, Avengers fine, but talking about like games, not movies. Like, why are you mentioning Last of Us 2?
Cinematic experience, you know. PlayStation. The PlayStation
You can
cinema.
just watch it.
Over the shoulder.
Just have the same experience
Over the
as watching
shoulder.
it on YouTube or something. So
Oh.
that's what I'm gonna do.
Over the shoulder experience.
Yes.
All right, guys. Look, that's all we have to talk about today. So thank you so much for joining Dork Entertainment on the first podcast. Thank you, Sumeet. Thank you, David, Daniel, and RetroJooni. So we'll see you on the next podcast, maybe with a couple of new guests, maybe with a couple of these old faces as well. This is going to become probably more of a regular thing as social distancing and
1.5 meters.
COVID-19.
Helps.
That's right. That's Daniel Dogg right there. Thank you, Daniel. Yeah. So we'll probably see you guys on the next episode, probably with some more, people from their homes zooming into the podcast. So thank you so much for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.